Now, the Thirdway Alliance says it is satisfied with preparations made by the IEBC ahead of the October 26th presidential election. Thirdway Alliance presidential candidate Dr. Ekuru Aukot says it is time Kenyans retired President Uhuru Kenyatta and NASA leader Raila ODINGA. And SHEILA SENDEYO joins us live from OSINKIRI in Nairobi. SHEILA, what more was said?
Right, Vicky, his media briefing just ended moments ago where he addressed the state of the nation, that is the current state of affairs in the country, IEBC preparations for the 26th of October, that is the repeat presidential election, and what way forward for them as a party. And he says that after a meeting with the IEBC did take them through step by step some of the changes that they say they've made ahead of the 26th and in line with the Supreme Court ruling and the Constitution, just to make sure that they seal those loopholes, those gaps that the Supreme Court pointed out that they failed on their part to implement when it came to the August 8th election, and what they're doing differently. And he says that he is somewhat convinced with what the IEBC told them, even though they didn't give them the written requests. They didn't answer them in writing as they had requested them, but they're somewhat convinced that they're doing the right thing. And they're saying that the IEBC should, as much as they're talking to them in boardrooms, they should also relay the same messages to the public so that the public can understand what the IEBC is up to ahead of their repeat election that is on the 26th. They're saying there cannot be any perfect election anywhere in the world, and they're convinced that the steps the IEBC has taken so far will be adequate to ensure that they comply strictly with the Constitution, the rule of law, and the Supreme Court ruling that nullified the August 8th presidential election. And they're saying at this point they will not be pursuing the other question. Remember, he'd raised concerns about the inclusion of the other candidates into the race, given the High Court ruling that gave the IEBC the go-ahead to include him. And he's saying for the best interest of the country, he will not be pursuing that line at this point. He's saying that he's putting the country first at this time, and reinstating really that, or restating I should say, that he will be in the ballot and the election should go on the 26th. He's pointed to the current state of affairs in the country, the fact that there's drought in most parts of the country, the healthcare crisis that is still largely unaddressed. Nurses have been on strike for what he says 6 months, and that is still unaddressed. Insecurity, killings, and the police, how they've handled demonstrators, in as much as they do not condone violent demonstrations. The police should protect the demonstrators. But he says all this should point to the fact that there is signs of bad governorship or governance or leadership, and it is time for Kenyans to make a bold decision on the 26th and elect him, as he is the better candidate of all the three, because of the state of what he says brinkmanship and anarchy, that the country is currently as a standstill. The economy is not performing well. Some businesses are suffering. Ordinary Kenyans are suffering, having ill affording meals, everyday meals. And he says that he is the best placed candidate to fix all that, and he's putting the country forward. And he's as a parting shot to ask the media to put his message across to Kenyans, saying that they should make that bold decision and elect him on the 26th. But at the moment, he doesn't have any issues with what the IEBC is doing in readiness for the 26th, and he's asking them to not just speak to the politicians in closed door meetings and in boardrooms, to also relay this message to Kenyan people as well. Vicky.
All right, great. Thanks, SHEILA. Now with Ekuru Aukot firmly in the race, let's see how that changes dynamics for October 26th. Now,